Harvard Law? Yeah, right. And I bet you paid for all this with drug money. Officer Derek Mitchell's words sliced through the morning rush hour at Boston's Financial District Station. 22-year-old Maya Johnson freezes, her fingers still poised over her MacBook Pro. Commuters stop mid-stride. Phones emerge from pockets. Maya closes her laptop with deliberate calm, her charcoal business suit a stark contrast to Derek's aggressive stance. Officer, I earned everything through scholarships and academic achievement. Derek steps closer, invading her personal space. Sure you did, sweetheart. Turn around, hands behind your back. For what charge? Maya's voice remains steady despite her racing heart. Theft, fraud, and now resisting arrest. Derek's hand moves to his handcuffs. The crowd thickens. Someone starts filming. Maya's phone buzzes with an incoming call. Mom, urgent classified. Derek notices the caller ID and laughs mockingly. Let me guess. Mommy's a Supreme Court justice too? Have you ever been judged as a fraud simply for being successful while black? What happened next will leave you speechless. Maya Johnson's morning began like any other day destined for greatness. At 5:30 a.m., she reviewed case files in her Cambridge apartment, surrounded by legal textbooks and Supreme Court decisions. Her Harvard Law diploma hung proudly beside a photo of her grandmother, Judge Rose Johnson, in her federal robes. The top 5% of her Harvard Law class doesn't happen by accident. Maya earned it through 18-hour study days, competing against the brightest minds in America. Her summer associate position at Morrison & Associates wasn't given. It was conquered through flawless interviews and a legal brief that made senior partners take notice. This morning's destination, a crucial client meeting that could define her career. Her briefcase contains documents for a landmark discrimination case, potentially worth millions in settlements. The opposing counsel has already tried to intimidate Morrison & Associates. They have no idea Maya Johnson is coming. Her phone buzzes insistently. 3 missed calls from Mom, classified. Maya frowns. Her mother, Colonel Sarah Johnson, rarely calls during operational hours unless something significant is happening. The last time was when Maya won the Harvard Law Review position. Maya adjusts her grandmother's vintage pearl necklace, a family heirloom passed down through 3 generations of accomplished Johnson women. Judge Rose Johnson wore these pearls when she became the first black federal judge in Massachusetts. Maya wears them to every important meeting, carrying her family's legacy of breaking barriers. Her laptop screensaver flickers momentarily, revealing a photo from last year's Veterans Day ceremony. Colonel Johnson stands in full-dress blues, her Special Forces tab gleaming above rows of combat ribbons. Maya quickly closes the laptop, but not before Derek notices the military imagery. Officer Derek Mitchell has been watching Maya for 15 minutes from across the platform. 18 years of police work taught him to spot problems before they happened. Young black professionals in expensive suits represented everything wrong with his changing city. Derek's morning started badly. His wife complained about their overdue mortgage. His supervisor passed him over for promotion, again promoting a younger officer with a college degree. At 52, Derek feels invisible, irrelevant, replaced by a generation that doesn't respect traditional authority. Maya represents his frustrations perfectly. Harvard education, designer accessories, confident bearing everything Derek believes she hasn't earned. In his worldview, success for people like her comes through handouts, quotas, and systems rigged against hard-working Americans like himself. His personnel file contains 47 civilian complaints, 23 involving racial bias. Internal Affairs dismissed them all due to insufficient evidence and union protection. Derek learned to be careful with his words, but his actions speak volumes. His partner called in sick, leaving Derek unsupervised during morning patrol. Without oversight, his worst instincts emerge. Maya's success triggers something primal in him, a need to restore what he perceives as natural order. The Financial District Station buzzes with Boston's elite beginning another day of making fortunes. Investment bankers check market reports. Corporate lawyers review merger documents. Tech executives discuss IPO strategies. This is where America's future gets decided. Maya chose this location strategically. Public spaces with security cameras provide protection in a profession where she's often the only black face in corporate boardrooms. Her legal training taught her to always document everything, anticipate hostility, and never give opponents ammunition. The morning crowd includes several familiar faces from Maya's professional network. Michael Brooks from Goldman Sachs recognizes her from Harvard Business School networking events. They collaborated on a joint law business case study that impressed professors from both schools. Patricia Williams, senior partner at competing law firm Bradley & Associates, knows Maya's reputation. Patricia tried recruiting Maya last summer, offering starting salaries that would make most law students faint. Maya politely declined, choosing Morrison & Associates for their civil rights division. David Rodriguez, financial journalist for the Boston Globe, live streams his morning commute for his growing social media following. His audience includes thousands of young professionals who follow his career advice and market commentary. This morning's stream will become something entirely different. Sarah Matthews hurries past, late for another corporate law assignment. She and Maya studied together at Harvard, pulling all-nighters in the library during their constitutional law intensive. Sarah knows Maya's brilliance firsthand, watching her deconstruct complex legal arguments with surgical precision. These witnesses represent Maya's professional world-educated, accomplished, influential. They understand her achievements because they've walked similar paths. Their presence will become crucial as Derek's harassment escalates. Maya's briefcase contains more than legal documents. Her federal court clerk certification opens doors at the highest judicial levels. Her letter of recommendation from Senator Elizabeth Warren carries political weight. Her Harvard Law Review membership card represents academic excellence recognized nationwide. But Derek sees none of this. He sees expensive accessories on a young black woman and assumes criminality. His worldview cannot accommodate the possibility that Maya earned everything through merit, sacrifice, and exceptional ability. The military decal on Maya's briefcase tells a story Derek doesn't bother reading. 3 generations of Johnson family service. World War II, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. Judge Rose Johnson met her husband at a USO dance in 1945. Colonel Sarah Johnson commands elite special operations units. Maya carries this legacy of service and sacrifice. Her Cartier watch was a graduation gift from her mother, purchased with combat pay earned in classified operations protecting American interests worldwide. The Louis Vuitton briefcase came from her grandmother, bought with the first paycheck from her federal judgeship. These aren't symbols of fraud. They're symbols of family achievement. Maya's morning ritual includes reviewing her presentation one final time. Morrison & Associates trusts her with their most important civil rights case because her legal analysis consistently exceeds senior partner expectations. At 22, she's already being courted by Supreme Court justices for potential clerkships. Derek approaches with predatory confidence, convinced he's about to expose a fraud. His supervisor will praise him for catching a sophisticated scammer in an expensive disguise. The commuters will thank him for protecting their neighborhood from undesirable elements. Maya senses the approaching confrontation, her legal instincts sharpening. She's faced hostile opposing counsel in federal court, aggressive partners during case reviews, and skeptical professors during oral arguments. But police harassment represents different dangers. Personal safety, not just professional reputation. The station's security cameras capture everything from multiple angles. Maya notices their positioning, her legal mind already building documentation for whatever comes next. She opens her phone's recording app discreetly, a habit developed from studying civil rights cases where video evidence proved crucial. Derek stops directly in front of her, his intimidating presence designed to establish dominance. The surrounding commuters slow their pace, sensing drama about to unfold. Phones emerge from pockets as people recognize the tension building in this ordinary morning scene. What happens next will transform Maya's carefully planned day into something that changes her life forever. Derek's interrogation begins with calculated aggression. "This bag costs more than most people make in a month. Where'd you really get the money?" Maya maintains her professional composure, drawing from years of hostile depositions and aggressive cross-examinations. "Officer, I earned everything through academic scholarships, merit-based awards, and legal internship compensation. I can provide complete documentation if necessary." Documentation can be faked. Derek moves closer, deliberately invading her personal space. The intimidation tactic works on most people. Maya isn't most people. "Stand up. We're going to have a conversation about how a 22-year-old affords luxury goods." Maya's Harvard law training kicks in automatically. "Am I being detained or am I free to go?" The question hits Derek like a slap. Most people submit to his authority without question. Maya's legal knowledge threatens his control over the situation. His face hardens with resentment. "Now you're getting smart with me?" Derek's voice carries across the platform, attracting more attention. "Turn around. Hands behind your back." "For what specific charge?" Maya's voice remains steady, but her heart pounds. She knows her rights, but rights mean nothing if the person with power chooses to ignore them. Suspicion of theft, money laundering, and now resisting arrest. Michael Brooks steps forward from the crowd. He recognizes Maya from their Harvard networking events, knows her reputation for academic excellence. "Officer, I know this woman. She's a Harvard law student with an impeccable record." "Back off!" Derek whips around, his hand instinctively moving toward his weapon. "This doesn't concern you, and I don't care where she claims to go to school." The crowd tenses. David Rodriguez adjusts his phone angle, his live stream audience growing rapidly as viewers share the unfolding drama. Comments flood in. "This is insane. She's clearly a professional. Cops gone wild." Maya sees the phone's recording, her legal mind automatically cataloging every violation of procedure and constitutional rights. False arrest, unlawful detention, racial profiling, excessive force. The list grows by the second. "Officer Mitchell," she reads his name badge carefully, ensuring her voice carries to the recording devices. "I'm going to comply under duress, but I want you to understand that I'm memorizing every word of this interaction for the civil rights lawsuit that will inevitably follow." Derek forces her hands behind her back, the metal cuffs clicking shut with unnecessary tightness. "Civil rights lawsuit? You watch too much television, Princess. No one's going to believe your sob story over a police officer's testimony." Patricia Williams pushes through the crowd, her senior partner authority commanding attention. "That's Maya Johnson. She's one of our most promising summer associates at Morrison & Associates. Lady, step back before I arrest you for obstruction of justice." Derek's aggression spreads to anyone defending Maya. "I don't care if she clerks for the president. She's got stolen property." Sarah Matthews films from her position near the exit, recognizing her Harvard study partner in handcuffs. She texts frantically to their law school group chat. "Maya being arrested at Financial Station? This is insane. She's the most honest person I know." Derek parades Maya through the crowded platform, the handcuffs deliberately displayed for maximum humiliation. Investment bankers and corporate lawyers stop their conversations to stare. The morning commute becomes a perp walk designed to destroy her professional reputation. "Officer, these handcuffs are restricting blood circulation," Maya states calmly, using precise legal language that the recording devices will capture clearly. "They're supposed to be uncomfortable. Maybe next time you'll think twice before running whatever scam you're running with that fake Harvard story." The live stream explodes across social media platforms. Justice. For Maya begins trending as viewers share David's broadcast. Legal commentators start analyzing the arrest in real time, pointing out obvious constitutional violations. Maya's phone rings insistently, the sound cutting through the station noise. The caller ID displays Mom, Urgent Classified, in bold letters that nearby commuters can see clearly. Derek notices the persistent ringing and decides to add psychological torture to physical humiliation. He answers Maya's phone with theatrical mockery, his voice loud enough for the crowd to hear every word. "Hello, this is Officer Derek Mitchell with the Boston Police Department. Your daughter's been arrested for financial crimes. You might want to hire her a real lawyer instead of whatever public defender she's used to." The voice on the other end turns Arctic cold. "Officer Mitchell, you have exactly 10 seconds to release my daughter and return her personal property." Derek laughs, playing to his growing audience of recording phones. "Ma'am, she's not going anywhere. She's looking at serious federal charges here." "Oh, you're military? What are you, a nurse? Maybe a supply clerk?" "This is Colonel Sarah Johnson, United States Army Special Operations Command. You are violating my daughter's constitutional rights, and this conversation is being recorded by military intelligence systems." Derek's smirk wavers for a microsecond before arrogance reasserts itself. "Right, and I'm General MacArthur. Your daughter's a fraud, just like her whole family, apparently." The precinct doors explode open with military precision. Derek marches Maya through Boston's busiest financial district during peak rush hour, the handcuffs gleaming under harsh morning sunlight. Investment bankers pause their phone calls. Corporate lawyers stop reviewing briefs. Tech executives look up from their tablets. The city's elite witness, a Harvard law student being paraded like a common criminal. The humiliation is calculated, deliberate, designed to destroy Maya's professional reputation before it fully blooms. Derek wants every future employer, every potential client, every networking contact to remember this moment. In his twisted logic, public shame will teach her proper respect for authority. "Officer, these handcuffs are cutting off my circulation," Maya states with clinical precision, ensuring her words reach the dozens of phones capturing every second. "They're supposed to be uncomfortable. Maybe next time you'll think twice before running whatever elaborate scam you've got going with that fake Harvard identity." David Rodriguez's live stream audience explodes past 50,000 viewers. Comments cascade like digital wildfire. "This is America in 2024. Sue them into bankruptcy. That cop is about to learn a hard lesson." The hashtag Justice for Maya trends across 3 platforms simultaneously. Maya notices news vans arriving in the distance. Someone alerted the media. This local incident is becoming national news in real time, each recorded second building toward career-ending consequences for everyone involved. At the precinct, Derek begins cataloging Maya's belongings with theatrical disdain. Each item gets examined, dismissed, and photographed as evidence of her supposed criminal enterprise. Her Harvard Law Review membership card, probably printed at Kinko's. Her Morrison and Associates identification badge. Anyone can make fake IDs these days. Her federal court clerk certification. These people are masters at creating false credentials. Her personal letter of recommendation from Senator Elizabeth Warren. Politicians write these for anyone who votes the right way. The photographs with Judge Rose Johnson at various legal ceremonies. Photoshopped, you can tell by the lighting. Each dismissal cuts deeper than the last. Maya watches Derek systematically invalidate every achievement that defines her identity, her family's legacy, her life's work. The psychological warfare is expertly designed to break her spirit before the legal process even begins. "You people are really getting sophisticated with these fraud operations," Derek continues, his voice carrying to the other officers watching the interrogation. Maya's composure cracks slightly. "You people? Officer, I need you to clarify exactly what demographic you're referencing with that phrase." The legal precision of her language makes Derek uncomfortable. Most suspects don't speak like constitutional law professors. Her vocabulary, her bearing, her knowledge of procedure, everything contradicts his assumptions about who belongs in handcuffs. Don't play semantic games with me, counselor. Derek spits the professional title like profanity. We both know what this is really about. Patricia Williams and Michael Brooks have followed the arrest to the precinct, demanding to speak with supervisors. Their presence attracts other legal professionals who recognize Maya from various professional events. A Harvard law professor emerges from a taxi. 2 federal clerks arrive via rideshare. Maya's professional network mobilizes like an immune system responding to infection. Derek calls his supervisor, spinning the narrative with practiced deception. I've got a major fraud suspect here. She's running some kind of sophisticated identity theft operation. Claims to be Harvard law, but we know how these affirmative action cases work. Probably got her information from hacking student databases. Maya realizes Derek is creating a false report in real time, building a fictional case that transforms her legitimate achievements into evidence of criminal conspiracy. Her legal mind races through precedent cases, constitutional violations, civil rights statutes. Officer Mitchell, that statement constitutes defamation per se under Massachusetts tort law. I'm recording our conversation in accordance with the state's 2-party consent statutes, which permit recording when one party reasonably believes a crime is being committed. Are you threatening me with legal action? Derek's voice rises with genuine alarm. Most suspects beg or cry or make excuses. Maya quotes legal precedent like she's arguing before the Supreme Court. I'm informing you of the legal consequences of your current behavior. False imprisonment, violation of civil rights under color of law, defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Your department's liability exposure currently exceeds $50 million. The other officers in the precinct stop their conversations. $50 million gets everyone's attention. Derek realizes Maya isn't just educated. She's dangerously educated, armed with legal knowledge that could destroy careers and bankrupt departments. Maya's phone continues its insistent ringing. The screen displays, "Mom, urgent classified," with military precision that suggests this isn't a typical parental check-in. Derek sees an opportunity to humiliate both Maya and her family simultaneously. He answers with theatrical mockery, his voice loud enough for the growing crowd of legal professionals to hear every word. Hello, this is Officer Derek Mitchell with the Boston Police Department. Your daughter's been arrested for running a sophisticated fraud operation. You might want to get her a real lawyer instead of whatever public defender she's used to. The voice on the other end drops to Arctic temperature. Officer Mitchell, you have 10 seconds to release my daughter and place her personal effects in her hands. This is not a negotiation. Derek laughs for his audience of fellow officers and recording phones. Ma'am, she's not going anywhere. She's looking at serious federal charges here. Identity theft, fraud, money laundering, the whole package. I am Colonel Sarah Johnson, United States Army Special Operations Command. My daughter is a Harvard Law Review editor with security clearance. You are violating her constitutional rights, and this conversation is being monitored by military intelligence. Derek's arrogance peaks at the mention of military service. Veterans represent everything he resents about modern America people earning respect through sacrifice instead of traditional authority structures. Oh, you're military? Let me guess, you're a nurse? Maybe a supply clerk? Sorry, lady, but the stolen valor routine doesn't work on real cops. Your daughter's going down for fraud just like her whole fake family story? The silence on the other end lasts exactly 3 seconds. When Colonel Johnson speaks again, her voice carries 20 years of Special Operations Command authority. Officer Mitchell, you have made the greatest mistake of your pathetic career. I am currently coordinating with federal agencies to ensure your complete and total destruction. Derek's smirk falters for a microsecond before rallying. Right, and I'm General Patton. Save the fantasy stories for someone more gullible than... The precinct doors don't just open, they explode inward with military precision that makes everyone freeze. A woman in full-dress blues fills the doorway, her bearing screaming Elite Special Operations. Combat ribbons cover her chest like battle scars transformed into medals. Behind her, 2 Pentagon officials in dark suits, their credentials already visible. Colonel Sarah Johnson has arrived. Every conversation in the precinct stops. Every officer turns toward the entrance. Every civilian witness raises their phone to capture what happens next. Derek looks up from Maya's belongings to see his worst nightmare materializing. A decorated special operations officer flanked by federal officials, her eyes locked on him with predatory focus that promises complete annihilation. Maya sees her mother and feels a mixture of relief and terror. Relief because help has arrived. Terror because Colonel Sarah Johnson, in full military fury, is a force of nature that destroys everything in its path. The room holds its collective breath, sensing that whatever happens next will change everything for everyone involved. Derek's hand trembles slightly as he sets down Maya's Harvard Law Review card. For the first time since this encounter began, genuine fear flickers across his features. He's about to learn that some people's families have resources that extend far beyond civilian authority structures. Some mothers command armies. Some daughters inherit legacies that include federal connections and unlimited capacity for justice. Colonel Johnson takes one step into the precinct, and Derek Mitchell's entire world begins crumbling around him. Colonel Sarah Johnson commands the precinct doorway like she's taking enemy territory. 6 feet of decorated military authority, her dress is immaculate despite traveling directly from a classified Pentagon briefing that ended the moment she received Maya's emergency signal. Behind her stands General Patricia Hayes from the Department of Defense Civil Rights Division and Deputy Director Marcus Thompson from Military Intelligence, their combined authority representing the full weight of America's military establishment. The silence in the precinct is absolute. Every conversation stops mid-sentence. Every phone call ends abruptly. Every officer freezes mid-action as 3 of America's most powerful military officials survey the scene with predatory focus that promises complete annihilation for whoever earned their attention. Officer Mitchell. Colonel Johnson's voice cuts through the silence like a blade through silk, each word precisely enunciated with the authority of someone accustomed to commanding elite special operations units in combat zones. Release my daughter immediately. That is not a request, and it will not be repeated. Derek's face drains of color, but 18 years of police work and wounded masculine pride make him attempt to maintain authority in front of his colleagues and the growing crowd of witnesses recording every second. Ma'am, this is a civilian police matter involving serious criminal charges against your daughter. This is Colonel Sarah Johnson, commanding officer of the 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta. You have violated the constitutional rights of a United States citizen under my protection. You will release her now. The command voice resonates through the building with such overwhelming authority that officers 3 floors away stop their conversations and look toward the sound. This isn't civilian anger or parental frustration. This is military command presence, honed by 20 years of special operations leadership in the world's most dangerous combat zones. Maya sees her mother's controlled fury and recognizes the most dangerous kind of anger. Ice-cold professional rage that destroys enemies with surgical precision rather than explosive emotion. This is the same voice that coordinated classified operations, commanded respect from generals and presidents, and earned fear from America's enemies worldwide. Maya, report your status immediately. Military protocol, mother to daughter, delivered with the same tone Colonel Johnson uses when debriefing classified operations that determine national security outcomes. Unlawful detention, false arrest, multiple civil rights violations, systematic racial profiling, all documented and recorded through multiple sources, ma'am. Maya responds automatically, her Harvard legal training merging seamlessly with military family discipline ingrained since childhood. Derek stammers, realizing his situation has shifted dramatically but still desperately clinging to his fabricated version of events. Look, Colonel, your daughter was acting suspicious, carrying expensive items that didn't match her supposed educational background. Standard police procedure requires... Suspicious of what, exactly? Being an honor graduate earning a Harvard Juris Doctor while black? Colonel Johnson's voice could cut through reinforced steel. "I've been monitoring your illegal interrogation through her cellular device since you answered her phone. Military intelligence systems recorded every word. Would you like me to quote your exact racist commentary about you people and affirmative action cases?" The blood completely drains from Derek's face as he realizes every word of his bigoted monologue has been captured by military intelligence systems that make civilian surveillance technology look like children's toys. His casual racism, delivered with confident cruelty, now exists in federal databases that will haunt him forever. General Hayes steps forward, her 4 stars gleaming under the harsh precinct lighting like warnings of the institutional power she represents. "Officer Mitchell, I'm General Patricia Hayes, Pentagon Civil Rights Division. Are you familiar with federal hate crime legislation, specifically 18 U.S.C. Section 249 and its penalties, including potential life imprisonment?" Derek looks around desperately, seeing his fellow officers backing away from him like he's carrying a contagious disease. The federal officials aren't just angry parents with delusions of importance. They're representatives of the most powerful military force in human history. And he just racially profiled one of their protected family members. Colonel Johnson produces a military-grade tablet that appears to contain technology decades ahead of civilian equipment. "Everything you've said and done has been recorded by Pentagon intelligence systems with audio clarity that exceeds Supreme Court courtroom standards. This includes your mockery of military service, your systematic racist assumptions, your fabrication of criminal charges, and your deliberate violations of Miranda rights and Fourth Amendment protections." Deputy Director Thompson adds his voice with the quiet authority of someone who briefs presidents on national security matters. "Officer Mitchell, your actions today triggered Protocol 7 surveillance, typically reserved for potential domestic terrorism cases. Every word, every gesture, every violation of constitutional law has been documented by systems that have never failed to secure convictions in federal court." Derek finally understands he's not facing an angry mother with military fantasies. He's facing a classified military operation that monitored his every word, documented his every illegal action, and built an airtight federal case against him in real time using resources that most Americans don't know exist. Maya stands up with fluid precision, transforming from handcuffed victim to Harvard-trained legal prosecutor in a single commanding motion. Her voice carries across the precinct with courtroom authority that makes seasoned officers listen like first-year law students attending their initial constitutional law lecture. "Officer Mitchell, let me explain your current legal position with the precision your situation demands. You have committed false imprisonment under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 265, Section 39. You have violated civil rights under color of law per 18 U.S.C. Section 242, which in cases involving racial bias carries penalties up to life imprisonment. You have engaged in defamation per se, intentional infliction of emotional distress, conspiracy to violate constitutional rights, and created fraudulent police reports." Maya continues with surgical legal precision. "The video evidence demonstrates clear racial profiling, violation of Fourth Amendment protections against unreasonable search and seizure, Fifth Amendment due process violations, Sixth Amendment right to counsel violations, and 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause violations. Additionally, your department faces civil liability under 42 U.S.C. Section 1983 for systematic civil rights violations." Derek's supervisor, Captain Rodriguez, arrives at a full sprint, summoned by panicked desk sergeants who watch federal officials storm into their precinct like an occupying army. He takes one comprehensive look at the assembled military brass, FBI agents, and Harvard officials, immediately recognizing that his department faces an existential threat. "Colonel Johnson, General Hayes, Deputy Director Thompson, I deeply and sincerely apologize for this officer's completely unacceptable conduct. Captain Rodriguez." Colonel Johnson's voice stops him mid-grovel with commanding finality. "Your departmental apologies are utterly meaningless to me. This officer's criminal behavior constitutes systematic violations of federal law, and his actions reflect comprehensive failures in your department's training, oversight, and disciplinary procedures. The live stream has exploded across every social media platform simultaneously, breaking viewing records as millions watch a Harvard law student systematically destroy the racist cop who attempted to humiliate her. Legal scholars provide real-time constitutional analysis, confirming every violation Maya identifies with academic precision. Maya continues her legal demolition with prosecutorial authority. Your department's civil liability exposure currently exceeds $50 million in compensatory damages, not including punitive damages, attorney fees, or federal sanctions. The pattern of ignored complaints in Officer Mitchell's personnel file establishes deliberate indifference to constitutional violations, triggering municipal liability under Monell Doctrine. Derek makes one final, desperate attempt to salvage his crumbling narrative. She was displaying suspicious behavior with expensive accessories that seemed inconsistent with her claimed background, and established police procedure requires thorough investigation of potential criminal activity. Colonel Johnson destroys him with military precision that makes veteran federal prosecutors seem gentle by comparison. Officer Mitchell, my daughter graduated summa cum laude from Harvard University with a 3.97 grade point average while competing against America's brightest minds. She served on the Harvard Law Review, clerked for federal appeals court judges, and earned every single achievement through intellectual merit that you couldn't comprehend in your most ambitious fantasies. General Hayes adds crushing federal weight to the destruction. Your personnel file contains 47 civilian complaints over 18 years, 23 specifically involving racial bias. Your department's systematic pattern of ignoring these documented complaints constitutes deliberate indifference to constitutional violations under established Supreme Court precedent. The precinct doors explode open again with dramatic timing. FBI Special Agent Jennifer Walsh enters with a full team of federal investigators, followed by ACLU Legal Director James Morrison, Harvard Law Dean Patricia Carter, and Massachusetts Attorney General Maria Rodriguez. Colonel Johnson's extensive network summoned the complete weight of America's legal establishment within 30 minutes. Derek surveys the assembled forces arrayed against him: federal agents, Pentagon officials, Harvard administrators, civil rights lawyers, state prosecutors, and military intelligence officers. His routine morning of casual racial profiling has triggered a response from the highest levels of American government, academia, and legal authority. Maya removes her own handcuffs using a technique her mother taught her during childhood self-defense training, the metal clicking open with symbolic finality that resonates through the silent precinct. Officer Mitchell, you arrested a Harvard Law Review editor with federal security clearance for the crime of academic and professional success while black. You mocked military service while speaking directly to a special operations commander. You fabricated police reports while being recorded by military intelligence systems. Colonel Johnson approaches Derek with predatory focus that makes hardened combat veterans nervous, her 20 years of special operations experience evident in every calculated step. My daughter will graduate magna cum laude from Harvard Law School. She will clerk for Supreme Court justices. She will become a federal prosecutor, then a federal judge, then potentially sit on the Supreme Court herself. She represents the absolute best of America's future potential. The room holds its breath as Colonel Johnson delivers her final judgment. You, Officer Mitchell, represent America's shameful racist past. And today, in front of these cameras, with the world watching, the future definitively wins over the past. The transformation inside the precinct happens with breathtaking speed. FBI agents move with professional efficiency, processing Derek Mitchell's arrest while reading him federal civil rights charges that carry mandatory minimum sentences. His hands shake as the same handcuffs he used to humiliate Maya now secure his own wrists behind his back. Captain Rodriguez works frantically to contain the departmental catastrophe, but the damage spreads like wildfire through social media and news networks. Every major television station interrupts regular programming to broadcast Maya's legal demolition of institutional racism. The hashtag #justice. For Maya, trends in 43 countries as the world watches American democracy correct itself in real time. Maya embraces her mother with the fierce intensity of someone who just survived a battle that will reshape her entire life's trajectory. Colonel Johnson holds her daughter with the protective strength of 20 years protecting America's freedoms, now channeled toward protecting her family's future. "You handled yourself with extraordinary courage and legal precision," Colonel Johnson whispers, her voice soft with maternal pride after the commanding fury. "I watched you transform from victim to prosecutor to agent of change. Your grandmother would be so proud." Maya's professional composure finally cracks, revealing the 22-year-old woman beneath the legal armor. "Mom, I kept thinking about everything you and Grandma Rose taught me about standing up to bullies who abuse their power. But I was terrified this would destroy my legal career before it truly began." "Maya, this experience will forge you into a better civil rights attorney than any classroom could. You now understand institutional injustice from the inside, and that knowledge will fuel decades of fighting for others who face similar discrimination." The assembled witnesses who defended Maya throughout the ordeal become powerful allies in the aftermath. Michael Brooks from Goldman Sachs approaches with business cards from 3 major law firms who want to recruit her immediately. Patricia Williams offers a starting salary that would eliminate Maya's student debt entirely. Sarah Matthews documents everything for their Harvard Law Review article about police accountability. The evidence against Derek accumulates like an avalanche of justice. His body camera footage, conveniently malfunctioning during the arrest, contradicts every element of his false police report. The precinct's security system captured multiple angles of his racist interrogation. 47 civilian complaints spanning 18 years reveal a pattern of discrimination that his supervisors systematically ignored. FBI Special Agent Walsh announces the federal charges with prosecutorial satisfaction. Derek Mitchell faces violation of civil rights under color of law, conspiracy against constitutional rights, deprivation of rights under color of law, and federal hate crime enhancements. Combined sentences carry potential life imprisonment. Derek's public defender arrives to find his client facing legal destruction that no plea bargain can mitigate. The viral video evidence, military intelligence recordings, and documented pattern of racial bias create a prosecutorial perfect storm that guarantees conviction. Maya addresses the media circus with poise that belies her age, speaking directly to the cameras with Harvard-trained precision. This incident represents thousands of similar encounters that never get recorded, never receive justice, never spark national conversations. Derek Mitchell targeted me because he couldn't comprehend that young black professionals earn success through merit, not privilege. The broader implications ripple through Boston's power structure immediately. Harvard Law School announces the Maya Johnson Civil Rights Fellowship, providing full scholarships for students committed to fighting discrimination through legal advocacy. Morrison and Associates promotes her to senior associate, fast-tracking her partnership timeline by 5 years. Derek's complete collapse unfolds with devastating thoroughness. His arrest makes international headlines, transforming him from an anonymous racist cop to a global symbol of institutional prejudice. His pension evaporates through federal forfeiture laws. His family faces bankruptcy from legal fees and civil judgments. His children endure bullying at school because of their father's documented racism. For the first time in his life, Derek Mitchell experiences the consequences of systemic discrimination. Prison intake officers assume he's violent because of his police background. Guards treat him with suspicion and contempt. Other inmates target him for harassment because of his former profession. The irony burns. Derek finally understands what it feels like to be prejudged, stereotyped, and dehumanized based on assumptions rather than individual character. Colonel Johnson addresses the national media with military authority that commands respect from presidents and generals. This isn't about one racist officer or one exceptional daughter. This represents a fundamental choice America faces. We can continue tolerating discrimination that wastes human potential, or we can build systems that judge people by character and achievement. Maya's story transforms from personal trauma into institutional catalyst. The Massachusetts state legislature passes the Maya Johnson Police Accountability Act, requiring body cameras, bias training, and civilian oversight for all law enforcement agencies. Other states introduce similar legislation within weeks. The Boston Police Department implements comprehensive reforms under federal consent decree. Every officer undergoes implicit bias training developed by Harvard psychologists. Complaint procedures receive independent oversight. Community policing initiatives prioritize relationship building over enforcement. Maya's legal career accelerates beyond her most ambitious dreams. Federal judges request her as clerk specifically because of her demonstrated courage under pressure. Civil rights organizations offer partnership tracks that typically require decades of experience. Law schools invite her to teach constitutional law courses while completing her final semester. Her first major case, representing 12 other victims of Derek Mitchell's documented racial profiling, recovered through FBI investigation of his arrest records. The class action lawsuit results in $18 million in damages and court-ordered police reforms across 3 precincts. The viral video became required viewing in law schools nationwide, analyzed for its demonstration of constitutional rights under pressure, legal strategy during crisis, and the intersection of individual courage with institutional change. Maya's Harvard Law Review article, Dignity Under Duress, Constitutional Rights and Racial Profiling in the Digital Age, becomes the most cited legal scholarship of the year. Supreme Court justices reference her analysis in landmark civil rights decisions. The transformation proves that individual acts of courage can reshape entire systems when amplified by modern technology and supported by institutional power. Maya's mother provided military authority. Harvard provided legal credibility. Social media provided global amplification. Together, they created unstoppable momentum for change. Derek Mitchell's conviction on all federal charges results in 15 years in federal prison without possibility of parole. His case becomes a cautionary tale taught in police academies about the career-ending consequences of racial bias. But Maya's story doesn't end with Derek's punishment. It begins with institutional transformation that protects thousands of future victims from similar discrimination. 6 months later, Maya receives acceptance letters from Supreme Court justices offering clerkship positions that launch careers toward the federal bench. Her choice will influence American jurisprudence for decades, ensuring that Derek Mitchell's racist assumptions helped create the very justice system that will prevent future Derek Mitchells from destroying innocent lives. The morning that began with humiliation ended with validation. The arrest that threatened to destroy Maya's future instead launched her toward American legal history. Sometimes justice doesn't just punish wrongdoing. It transforms victims into agents of systematic change that benefits everyone. Maya Johnson learned that morning that some battles choose their warriors, and her warrior spirit was forged by generations of Johnson family service to ideals greater than individual comfort. 1 year later, the ripple effects of Maya Johnson's arrest continue reshaping American society in ways nobody could have predicted. Derek Mitchell sits in federal prison, serving 15 years without parole, his racist assumptions having triggered the very transformation he spent his career trying to prevent. Maya stands before the Supreme Court of the United States, arguing her third case as the youngest attorney in the court's history. Her legal brief cites the Johnson Standard for police accountability legislation now adopted by 37 states following her viral arrest. The justices listen with respect, earned through demonstrated courage under pressure. Her message remains consistent. Excellence is not a crime. Success while black is not suspicious. Education is not a threat. When we judge people by character instead of assumptions, everyone wins. The Maya Johnson Civil Rights Fellowship has provided full Harvard Law scholarships to 43 students committed to fighting discrimination through legal advocacy. These future attorneys carry her story into courtrooms nationwide, ensuring that institutional racism faces educated, determined opposition for generations. Derek Mitchell's prison letters reveal a man slowly confronting 20 years of racist policing. Through mandatory counseling and interaction with diverse inmates, he finally recognizes the lives he destroyed through prejudice. His children changed their last name to escape his legacy, but his youngest daughter visits monthly, slowly building a relationship based on his commitment to change rather than his history of hatred. He writes to Maya annually, letters she doesn't read but keeps as evidence that redemption remains possible even for those who cause tremendous harm. His transformation doesn't erase his victims' trauma, but it prevents future victims by demonstrating that racist behavior carries genuine consequences. Colonel Johnson reflects on her daughter's journey with military precision. Maya didn't choose to become a civil rights champion that morning. Derek Mitchell's prejudice forced that role upon her. But she chose what to do with that injustice, and her choice changed everything for countless others. The broader institutional changes prove lasting and comprehensive. The Boston Police Department, once notorious for racial bias complaints, now serves as a national model for community policing. Crime rates decreased while community trust increased, proving that respectful policing creates safer neighborhoods for everyone. Maya's Harvard Law Review article inspired federal legislation requiring police departments to track and report racial disparities in arrests, stops, and use of force. The data reveals patterns previously hidden, enabling targeted interventions that protect civil rights while maintaining public safety. Corporate America responded by implementing bias training programs after witnessing how discrimination nearly destroyed a future legal superstar. Maya's experience became a cautionary tale about unconscious prejudice in professional settings, leading to policy changes that benefit all employees regardless of background. At 23, Maya has argued before the Supreme Court, won landmark civil rights cases, and been named to Forbes 30 Under 30 for law and policy. She recently announced her engagement to Marcus Brooks, a fellow Harvard Law graduate who proposed with her grandmother's vintage engagement ring, another family heirloom carrying forward the Johnson legacy of breaking barriers. Her nonprofit organization, Equal Justice Legal Clinic, has provided free representation to over 300 discrimination victims. Her legal victories created precedents protecting students, professionals, and families from the kind of harassment she endured. Maya's story demonstrates that individual courage, amplified by modern technology and supported by institutional power, can create transformative social change. Her mother provided military authority. Harvard provided legal credibility. Social media provided global amplification. Together they proved that justice is possible when good people refuse to remain silent. The viral video continues inspiring young people facing discrimination. Comments pour in from students who stood up to biased teachers, employees who reported workplace discrimination, and citizens who documented police misconduct. Maya's example shows that one person's courage can protect countless others. Derek Mitchell's case study is now taught in police academies nationwide as a cautionary tale about career-ending consequences of racial bias. His life serves as proof that prejudice ultimately destroys the prejudiced person more than their intended victims. But this story's true power lies in its demonstration that America's systems can self-correct when citizens demand accountability. Maya's arrest sparked conversations in millions of households, schools, and workplaces about unconscious bias, institutional discrimination, and the courage required to create change. The morning that began with racist assumptions ended with systematic transformation. The harassment designed to diminish Maya instead launched her toward American legal history. The officer who sought to humiliate her instead created the very leader who will prevent future officers from destroying innocent lives. Maya Johnson learned that some battles choose their warriors, and warriors are forged by overcoming challenges that would break weaker spirits. Her strength came from generations of Johnson family service to ideals greater than personal comfort. Today, she serves those same ideals by ensuring that Derek Mitchell's prejudice accidentally created the justice system that protects everyone's constitutional rights. What will you do the next time you witness injustice? Will you record it, report it, Speak up against it. Your action or inaction shapes the world we all share. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Support civil rights organizations in your community. Vote for leaders who prioritize accountability and justice. Teach your children that character matters more than appearance. Maya's courage changed everything. What will yours accomplish?